on Burden from Chicago. Again, we'll be keeping an ear out for that in the next hour. The Sunday nighter next week will be Pittsburgh-Baltimore, which is significant because of what happened in Cleveland. It was on the table. Win the game, and you are going to the playoffs. Meanwhile, it comes down to this. Cleveland with Garrett on the outside. He can't get home. It's basically one-on-one at the top. Rodgers wants a flag. Ward out there in coverage. There is no flag forthcoming. I don't think they should have been. Here's Ward on being prepared for the moment.
I just try to make it hard on teams every time they decide to look at the scouting report and see who they're going to attack and make it hard on them when they come my way. And like I said, I don't know whose bright idea it was to try me for the game for 3 plays in a row, but we was able to come through and get the win.
Salute to Cleveland fans out there in bad weather, howling for your guys, barking for your guys. Here's Rodgers on next week's matchup.
I have full confidence we'll go on and win next week.
What gives you that confidence you guys are going to be able to right the ship next week?
Because we've done it all season. We've handled adversity well, and we had to play our best ball. Yeah, we did, other than today.
To an extent, I feel like they were more worried about keeping me away from Aaron than getting the win. And I think that's what came back to bite them. So they'll have to fight it out with Baltimore next week, but I'm just proud of the guys for fighting and getting this win.
Tim Hasselbeck back alongside, and this Pittsburgh offense, you had the target number. How many did MVS?
So to both receivers, most targeted receivers, 16 targets. So they caught 6 passes.
No DK Metcalf. The impact, not just this game, but his absence next week as well. How crippling is that for this Pittsburgh offense?
I think it chokes the explosiveness and it chokes their passing game. And I say it because you need guys to be able to win at the receiver position, and it showed up against the Browns, their inability to do so. Here's a good example. It's an inside fade to MVS, who's in the slot here. Aaron Rodgers has hit this type of throw 1,000,000 times. MVS is just slow to react to the football. I don't think he picks it up soon enough, and then it just ends up looking like, Aaron has this throw just way off target, but that's really not even close to being completed. Then you get down in the red zone. Aaron is working to his left originally. He comes back inside, and because MVS has got an inside breaking route, he's expecting him to be there, but he gets walled off inside, and he just kind of gives up on the route and tries to bounce it outside, and then on 4th and goal, they throw the goal line fade. I mean, something that you see DK Metcalf dominate people with because of his size and his strength. The ball's actually in a pretty good spot, and it's not even close to being connected on. That's a problem. So if you look at it, so between MVS, Scotty Miller, they were targeted 16 times. They had 6 receptions. So that's 10 incompletions just to those 2 receivers alone. You can't live like that in the passing game. It's just way too hard. And you think about it. Yes, Cleveland's got a good defense, but Baltimore is pretty good in the secondary as well. And so that'll be a problem if they can't generate ways to get guys free.
3 for 15 on 3rd down, and I mean they score 6 points, and they've been bad against bad teams, and now they're playing against Baltimore. That rivalry's been great forever, and the stakes could not be higher. And we were having this conversation upstairs, and I want to try to frame it for you so that it doesn't sound ridiculous.
Right.
But we don't know if Lamar Jackson's available for Baltimore. They won without him against Green Bay. Of course, they leaned on Derrick Henry. Wild what happens when he's playing and you give him the football quite a bit. But if Jackson doesn't play for Baltimore, and we know Metcalf's not playing for Pittsburgh, who is more impacted by the absence?
Yeah, as we were talking about, look, my knee-jerk reaction is to say, well, hey, Lamar Jackson.
Multiple MVP.
You hold your breath when the ball's in his hands. The reality, though, is who he has been this year. And I think it's been a theme of what we've talked about this year of like, hey, we think Kansas City's this, but they're not. We think Detroit's this, but they're not. We think Baltimore's this, but they haven't been. And Lamar Jackson hasn't been. They're a 6-6 football team with him as a starter. He's thrown fewer than 20 touchdown passes this year.
What was the rush stat?
He was rushed for 340 yards this season. For perspective, I know he only started 12 games this year, but you go back 2 years ago when he started 12 games, he rushed for 700 and something yards, like twice as many. He's not been the same runner. He's not been as dangerous with the ball in his hands. He just has not been. So if you're going to get the Lamar Jackson that's been, how he's played this season, yeah, the bigger loss is DK Metcalf because we just saw what happens to their passing game without him. Huntley played great against a pretty talented Green Bay defense. So, yeah, it's crazy to say, but he hasn't been the same. That team has not been the same with him as their quarterback.
And so that Sunday nighter will determine who makes it in for the final spot in the AFC. Tim, you'll be back next week to talk about all that. Appreciate the perspective and time as always. Ben, take a look at the Buffalo-Philly game. The Patriots rolled the Jets early Sunday, which meant if the Bills fell, their consecutive AFC title streak of 5 would come to an end. An odd, rainy day, not just football, and man, they have loved looking for Dallas Goedert down here close, and there he is. Play action, Goedert's 11th receiving touchdown, breaking the record for the most by a tight end in Eagles franchise history. A couple of going in, they're going to go for 2, and Allen has Khalil Shakir open, but he misses him, and the frustration, understandable on the Buffalo side. The joy on the Eagles side equally as palpable. Here's Allen on that play that didn't quite connect.
Yeah, I just missed. Wrong left, but getting better ball.
You guys had a little extra time to decide to go for 2. Just what were those conversations like when you were getting ready for that play?
Just getting to a play that we like. Again, it was there, and I got to make it.
All right, Tim, let's work our way backwards here. They went for 2. That Philly offense had done nothing in the second half. Tie it, go to overtime, whatever. But you got Josh Allen. What'd you think of the call?
Yeah, at the time I was indifferent about it just because I thought that, listen, Buffalo really didn't do much on offense either. That hook and ladder kind of got them going.
That's
so it wasn't like they were rolling. Now put it in Josh Allen's hand and win the games. The perspective of Philadelphia was terrible on offense the whole second half. You know, the fear of going into, extra minutes with them shouldn't have been there.
But that
said, it's wide open. Josh Allen is as good as anybody playing the position. He knows that he's just got to hit him, and he didn't. So I think it's always easy to second-guess calls. I think Sean McDermott was right doing what he did, and truthfully, they had a chance.
And he threw up 2 when he thought Knox scored. It was clear, when we score, we're going for 2. They were committed to it. They tried. It didn't work. You mentioned Philly's offense. I did as well in the highlight. They didn't complete a pass in the second half. And they've had these monster stretches where they don't do anything. But they did enough in the first 30 minutes to have that defense allow it to stand up. What did their defense do best?
They won up front right away. And then they also did a good job of confusing and disguising Josh Allen, which is not easily done. That's what I mean about, winning up front. Jalen Carter, he's just back in the lineup now, and he's a problem. You mentioned it, Scott, in blocking the kick. Well, I don't care how good you are at quarterback. When you win that quickly inside, that's a problem. Here's the other thing. Josh Allen is in charge of the protection. 5-man protection. He moves the center to the right. Well, you're getting a rusher from the left. Josh Allen knows it right away that he sent the protection the wrong way, has to throw it away. That's a win by the defense, and it's not because you won up front. And then after a while, and I think Josh's foot's bothering him, and he wasn't moving as well, they just squeezed the pocket. Look at the way this shrinks and just collapses in on him. And on 3rd and long, when we typically see him try to escape and buy some time, instead the pocket just swallowed him. And it's interesting because at times we've seen this Philly defensive line get pushed around a little bit in the run game. And then other times you see them and it's like, wow, they can dominate people, which they did today against Buffalo.
Last quick thought, because I think it's important. We talked Chicago, your offense looks great. San Francisco offense looks great. Defense is a concern. That stat we just had on the Eagles about their defense, their offense is completely non-existent.
Correct.
But moving forward, you can win playoff games with that defense, can't you?
You can, especially you catch a break with a call early in the game like they did in this game. Or Saquon does something crazy, makes a guy in the backfield miss and scores a touchdown. You have A.J. Brown who can make contested catches. It may not be perfect on offense, but if you play good defense, you'll have a chance.
The same sport, the 2 highlights that we just showed. Pretty remarkable how compelling they both were, but in completely different ways. More from Tim a little later. AFC North is on the line. We'll be breaking that division down as we continue. We will have more as well from a really tremendously compelling game between the Bears and the Niners. Monster impact for the Niners moving forward. Steelers slip up in Cleveland, a winner-take-all rematch with the Ravens next week. Kyle Brandt is back. Talk Bills, Eagles finish, the Giants-Raiders tankathon, and what to do about your kid figuring out Santa Claus.